to see everyone. Hopefully, we can get through the credit card authorization form. I'm sorry for the technical issues. Welcome, welcome. I am assuming many of you are new agents and welcome. How long have you been new agents? Like, how long have you been a travel agent? Week, couple of days? Let's engage in the chat a little bit. 2 weeks, Kathy. Wonderful. Since August. Hi, Kathy. Awesome. About 3 weeks. Wonderful, Molly. Gosh, you're seasoned by this time. This is wonderful. June 25th. Wonderful. Took one of my classes. Awesome, James. Glad. Welcome back. Well, today I'm going to go over the credit card authorization form. And this is basically a tool that you need to use in order to make sure that you are authorized to use your client's credit card. All right, so I am going to share my screen here and we will jump right into it. All right. Does everybody know where the back office is? Everybody know where the back office? Yes. Awesome. Good. Wonderful. And like I told you, you guys are seasoned. You know what you're doing. So this is the back office. Okay. This is where you're going to go for all your travel needs, right? One of the major things that we use in the back office, and we try to bookmark it so we don't have to go back to the back office every single time, but it's the travel cafe. The travel cafe is located right here, right above Evo Plus. If you haven't taken my Evo Plus training, please do. I'll put the link in the chat in a moment. So Travel Cafe, we're going to go to Travel Cafe to get to the credit card authorization form. Oh, I have to sign back in. I love our securities, right? All right. So I'm going to go back into the back office, go to Travel Cafe, and it should load you right in. Once again, if you could bookmark Travel Cafe, then you don't have to go to your back office. So if you go down and slide down to forms, then you go to the third one down, and that's credit card authorization form. Really easy. Now, if we're using this to get authorization from our clients, we're going to go to the second one in. The first one is when you're booking within 21 days of their traveling, right? So let's say someone says, I want to go somewhere in the next 2 weeks or in the next week. That's below 21 days. So you're going to have to use the first form. Okay. And this is just for your protection because anyone wanting to travel that quickly, sometimes that's a red flag for fraud. Okay. So our suppliers and Archer kind of do some due diligence and a little more of an audit. And basically, they're going to ask you for your protection as an agent. Do you have the credit card authorization form and an ID? Do you know this person? All of those types of things to kind of vet that person and the guest in their travel. Okay, so that's something that you can use for anything less than 21 days. Now, most of our trips are going to be past the 21 days, so we're going to go to this second section here, and then we're going to go down to USA English if that's your language of choice. So this is the credit card authorization form. And I am going to show you this one because it's a little bigger and brighter. Okay, so the credit card authorization form, once again, is to use because all of our clients are pretty much giving us a credit card and we need authorization in order to put their 16 digits into the supplier's portal. So that could be into the supplier portal Cruising Power for Royal Caribbean. It could be for the supplier portal of Exotica. Whatever we're using that credit card number for, we need authorization to do so. All right. So the business name, you might say, oh my goodness, I haven't thought of my business name yet. I don't know. I've still been, kind of looking over it. Guys, don't worry. You don't need it. Just go ahead and put your name. Put your name there where it says business name. Now, the business address. You don't necessarily need that as well. You're not a brick and mortar company. You might not have a standard address. Don't worry about putting your home address. Just go ahead and put your phone number and your email address. Okay. So your name at the top if you don't have a business name, your phone number, and your email address. So, Molly, you have a question. Do you send the picture of the credit card and the ID, or is there a link that can scan them to? You know what, Molly? That's a great question. I'll get to that.
Angela, I think you muted yourself.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh my gosh, that happens every now and then. I'm literally not muted, but thank you so much for telling me. All right. So, did you hear the first part, right? You guys are good with that?
I think business name, and then you said like we're not a brick and mortar company, so we fill in like just our phone number, email, all that, and then I think you cut out.
Okay. Thank you,
I think
Molly,
that's
for
where you.
catching me. Oh, thank you for catching me up. I appreciate it. All right. So if you have that, then we're going to go down to the next section where it says I. So we're going to put in our client's name. So if I were to say, I, Molly, hereby authorize Angela Hines to process the credit card information provided for the reservation details listed below. So it is specific to the reservation we're dealing with. Now, they have to, you're going to put their name and they're authorizing you to use their 16 digits to enter into the supplier portal. So the guest name would be probably the same as what you put up here. And then you would put the trip type. That could be a hotel, it could be a cruise, it could be so many different things, but just something generic, just put that there. And then the supplier name. Now, the supplier could be Evo Plus, it could be Royal Caribbean, it could be so many different things. We have so many suppliers, right? Room Res, it could be Princess Cruise. Well, I would invite you to put not only the supplier's name, but the name of that hotel. Let's say you're using a hotel, put the name of the hotel and go ahead and put the supplier is Evo Plus. If you're doing a cruise, you might want to put Princess Cruise and put the name of the cruise ship, right? If it's a Sun Princess Europe, put a little more just so you're not like, what was that trip again? When you're doing the credit card authorization form. Confirmation number. You may or may not have that yet because you haven't booked it until you get that 16-digit credit card number, right? So go ahead and leave that blank. The departure date and the return date. You probably know that already if you're at this portion because they're ready to pay. So go ahead and put that check-in, check-out date or that sailing when they start and when they return. Then we have the contact name. The contact name is usually the same as the guest name, but I want you to remember that this is for the finances, right? Who's paying? What if it's the father of the bride, right? Then the contact name would be different than the guest name. Guest name would be the bride and groom, and the contact name would probably be that father of the bride. Okay. So just make sure you understand the difference there. And then the name as it appears on the credit card. You might not have that information, right? And the last four digits on the credit card number, you might not have that either. So go ahead and leave that blank. But guys, I want you to remember you are the concierge of travel. Okay. So you are providing a service. Fill this out as much as possible. Leave as minimal blanks as you can because you're not trying to give your clients homework, right? You're trying to just give them a, a filled in credit card authorization form so they have minimal work to do. So those two spots you may not have. So go ahead and leave those blank. This red section is very important. Molly, you alluded to this earlier. Picture of the credit card and also a copy of their government issued ID. So this would be a passport. This red section is asking for a passport or driver's license and a copy of that credit card, front of that credit card. Now, it's also letting that client know, please Do not write your 16-digit credit card number on this form. Okay, it's for their protection and for yours. This They don't want that being emailed over. It's basically saying we will have an agent call you. So yes, they're filling in this form, and then they're going to send it over to you without their credit card number on it, just maybe the last four digits. And then you're going to pick up the phone and get that full credit card number over the phone. But you also need a copy of their driver's license and their um, or their government issued passport. Okay. Now, the reason for this, I want to make sure you guys understand the why. We want to make sure that you're in compliance and that you're covered, right? We want to make sure that you're not that fraud is not going on, right? If someone sends you a copy of their credit card authorization form and no ID, and you don't know them, how do you know, right? This is really them, not a stolen card. So you have this due diligence of getting that credit card authorization.
I think you might be muted again, Angela.
Am I back?
I think so.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so basically, we want to make sure that you have the information that you need in order to be in compliance. No, this protects you from fraud. Now, if a client maybe has buyer's remorse and they're afraid to call you and tell you, um, I, they might call their credit card company and say, "I didn't make that purchase. I didn't do that. That's not my transaction." And then there's a chargeback with Archer. Archer might call you and say, "Kathy, do you have a copy of credit card authorization form?" You go, "Yep, I have my credit card authorization form and I have a copy of their ID." So we know that it's a legitimate transaction. And this safeguards you as a travel agent. Okay, so this part is pretty important. I am very strict on getting the copy of that ID. Most times they're traveling internationally, or I need the real ID for their flight. So most times they give it to me anyways, no problem. Now, when it comes to the front of that credit card, I am not as strict on that, but you know, but I have their ID. So that is literally up to you. We do allow for e-signatures, absolutely, Molly. Now, I have a CRM, so a customer portal where they can upload their documents. This credit card authorization is electronic, and they can upload their passport onto to me, and it goes in the contact file. If you want to invest in a CRM, you definitely could do that. It's about $30 a month, and you can reach out to your mentor to see if they have a code for you to get a discount. Now, I would just if you're making money on Evo Plus and you want to make a thing pay for a thing, absolutely do that. If you want to wait to pay for something like that, I absolutely understand. I started off with using the credit card authorization form for quite a while, just sending this to them doing an e-signature or typing in their name, taking a picture of it, sending it to me via text or via email. Okay. And then I would call them over the phone and get their credit card number. So it's pretty safe in that way. So either way, hopefully that answers your question, Molly. Thanks for asking. All right. So the other thing is we want afterwards, we're going to put the total amount, right? So if we are doing Evo Plus, for example, we're going to have the hotel cost plus that wholesale processing fee together. That's the total that you're going to put on the credit card authorization form. But if you're doing Princess Cruise and they're doing monthly payments, let's say, you might not put the whole 14,000 on there. You might put that it's $420 a month. I like to put, when I do my groups, I do $420 a month, right? And then I say from what is this month? September to June. Okay. So this allows me to not have to do a credit card authorization form every month, right? So I put monthly payments. So this is kind of a contract letting them know this is how much we're going to take out per month. Now, usually I say every 10th of the month or something like that. But this is a conversation I probably already had with my client. So that's something, if you're doing monthly payments, you can be a little more specific on this credit card authorization form. Now, the expiration date, billing address, all of that's pretty self-explanatory. The information that you do have, please fill it in. If you don't have it, go ahead and leave it blank. Now we get down to the portion of that travel protection. Now, I know during your consultation, you probably asked your client, do you want travel protection? Some of you have already registered for 10-leg. It's one of our suppliers in the back office in the Travel Cafe. If you have not, I really encourage you to do so. Read up on it a little bit. It is one of the suppliers where we can offer travel insurance that protects the client's total travel investment. It protects flights, it protects hotels, it protects the cruise. And I'll give you a little tidbit here. If you have a client that gets travel protection for their flight, then they get a different travel protection for the cruise, and maybe they don't have any travel protection for the hotel. So that's an option, right? Because flights offer their own travel protection and the cruise offers their own travel protection. Now, consider this. Your clients travel, or maybe they can't go. Something happens. Things happen, right? Now they have to make a claim separately for the flight, separately for the cruise. That's kind of a lot of work when you're going through something that's probably a family emergency or something like that, right? But if they had 10-leg insurance, right? If they had one insurance that covered their total travel investment, they'd make one claim to handle it all. So that's one of the selling points and advantages of 10-leg. Also, you as an agent will get about 17 to 18% commission. So I think that might be something you want to look into, study a bit, and see how you can offer it to your clients. Just making it, we always want to give them the best value and make it seamless for them. So this has been a real advantage. So once you started studying that, you can offer that during your consultation. You can send them a link. They can do the proposal themselves. They actually can go on 10-leg, do the quote, pay for it. You get an email without even talking to them and saying that, hey, your Mr. and Mrs. Smith got travel protection, and all you need to do is load in your commissions. So it's one of those affiliate links you definitely want to use. Okay, so they're going to mark yes or no whether or not you offered them travel protection and whether or not they want it. This is a safeguard for you and for Archer to know that if anything were to go down and they said they did not want travel protection, you have it noted and documented here. So Molly says, so if we have flights, hotel protection, each one gets its own credit card authorization form. So that's a great question. If you have flights, hotel, and all of that, if you do 10-leg, I just want to make sure I got your question right. If they're doing 10-leg and they go on and they do it themselves and they get a quote and then they pay for it themselves, you did not put their credit card number inside of 10-leg. So a credit card authorization form is not needed. If the client is paying themselves, you don't need authorization form. If you're taking their credit card information and plugging it into a supplier portal, you always need this credit card authorization form. So if they book their own flights, you don't need this form. If you book their flight, you do need a form. If you book their flights, hotel, and let's say maybe their cruise, right? And they want to pay you one amount, you could definitely capture that, all of that on this one credit card authorization form. Most times you don't have your flight information, you just book the cruise. So for every transaction you are doing, you do need a credit card authorization form unless you do it in a package. Hopefully that makes sense. You're free to get off mute if you have a question and I clarify that. So Joshua asked, so for 10 leg, would it cover a flight that specifies no refunds like economy or cabin? That's a great question. I think so. And the reason why, oh, you're welcome, Molly. The reason why it covers what your, it covers what you, your total package, right? So basically it's like this. It's insurance. It gives you an amount. Your total package, let's say it's $20,000 trip and you can't go. It's going to cover the cost that you spent up to $20,000. It's insurance. So it doesn't care what the policies are. It's saying, I will cover your total travel investment because we're layering on top of. So that's why it's always good to get travel protection because it's not going to ask American Airlines to refund you. It's stepping in behalf of American Airlines and say, we've got you. I've got you covered. You have insurance with me. I will cover you because I know American Airlines will not. So that's what the benefit of having insurance is. So hopefully that helps you with that.
Angela, I got a question.
Yeah.
I've got a young couple um, that I'm working on to book my first booking, and I'm really excited about it. It's not a big booking. It's like a birthday trip to Las Vegas. They're going to stay on Fremont Street, kind of a lower lower budget kind of
Nope.
vacation for
That's
them.
good.
Yeah, and I've got some experience traveling to Vegas and stuff, so I've just kind of trying to use some of my past knowledge and some things like that.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about it. But I took the class today again because the credit card authorization form was kind of one of my bigger questions on
Okay.
how to do some of the things. Um, Going back up towards the top of the form there where it says
Mhm.
I and then blank. Um, when you're referring to I, you're referring to like myself, and then I'd authorize like four queens or Evo plus or whatever. Is that how that would work on that particular line?
So, James, it actually, what it's asking, this form is for the client. And so it's from the
Right.
client's perspective. So it's saying, I, client, authorize James
Oh, I
to
gotcha.
process the,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's, this isn't the first form that I've had through Archer where I haven't understood. There's been some other forms for suppliers and stuff that I've just had to ask a lot of questions because a lot of it was kind of, I just it could have gone any which way. And so,
Okay.
so it'd be I, the client, and authorizing me. Okay, I gotcha. Um, Now on like if I'm booking for them and I'm gonna do a flight for them as well, do I need two different credit card authorization forms for that? Because
Yes.
it's not gonna be a, okay,
Yes,
gotcha. That's
because
perfect.
you're entering it in two separate portals, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
their credit card is going to get hit for the flight, and so let's say you're doing Vax. Let's just say you're using Vax, and Vax has you have the flight, you have the maybe the transfers, and you got a hotel included, and maybe I've even had something where I had lays for for them to get when they got off the airport. If that's a package deal in Vax, you're only using that one portal. So you
Hmm.
only need one credit card authorization form that is going to pay for multiple things. So think of it in the sense of how many portals am I using? That's how many credit card authorization forms I'm going to need.